Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the witnesses. Just a comment about this decision by the Supreme Court in Dobbs, which I think was profoundly cynical, based on, quote, originalism, and that's in the mind of the Supreme Court justices who wanted to overturn what had been settled doctrine. And the second thing that's so disturbing about this, and I'm sorry Senator Cruz isn't here, the idea that the privacy rights that were enshrined in Roe v. Wade, that value that we placed constitutionally on certain realms of decision-making that belong to the individual person, is challenged and then is turned over to a political process. Senator Rono said it best. You make your own decision. You respect the decision another person makes because that's her right. That's all upside down now. And it's unleashed this whirlwind where states are having bans from the moment of conception, where personhood where IVF is threatened, where every right that we've had is thrown into turmoil. And it's all on the basis of the Supreme Court rejecting the notion that there are certain spheres where it is the individual who has the freedom to make the decision that is best for her and not impose her decision on others. And we're reaping the whirlwind. And I just want to express to you, Ms. Hurd, thank you so much for coming in. I can't believe what you went through. And you and your husband in the effort to create a family. And my apologies to you that your court has done to you what it did. I do want to ask a question just on a practical level about what's the implication and the cost to a family who wants to have IVF. Ms. Rivera, could you talk about that? What's the implication here about an already expensive procedure? What's it going to cost a family like the Hurd family if they want to do this?
I am not an expert on this, Senator Welch, but I can tell you that anything that makes it harder for an already emotionally and physically taxing process, where people have out-of-pocket costs depending on insurance coverage, for example. Timing is everything from what I understand with IVF, and anything that makes it more difficult just creates enormous barriers.
Okay. And Doctor, I want to give you a chance to respond to some of the questions that Senator Cruz was asking about late-term abortion. And my understanding is that late-term abortions are very rare, and it's almost always, really probably always, where there's a medical emergency and the life of the woman is imperiled. And I'm not, if we as a U.S. Senate try to figure out what should be done in that moment in circumstances that we know nothing about, that's going to jeopardize, in my view, very much the life of the mother. Can you speak about the agony of the decision that has to be made and what the considerations are?
Of course, and thank you for that question. Like I've said before, medicine is not black and white. It's not straightforward. And abortion access and the ability for an individual to receive an abortion is basic healthcare and medical care. I invite you, Senator Welch or Senator Cruz, if he wants to come back, to follow me around in the hospital and really see what it's like to take care of patients and to see what it could potentially be like to try to have an exception for a patient who's critically ill, what that really looks like, because I haven't seen it work yet. I've seen patients on mechanical ventilation, patients who have active cancer, patients who are extremely ill. None of them have received abortions. They've remained pregnant. So the whole idea of, I don't even know what a late-term abortion is, to be quite honest. The vast majority of abortions occur in the first trimester, but that's not really the point. The point is that it needs to be a decision for an individual after shared decision-making and good counseling by a provider so that they can make the best decision for themselves.
Thank you very much. I yield back.